Quick takes, let's go. Stephen A., how far can your Knicks go?
New York, stand up. New York, stand
Answer
up.
the question.
We win in the first round. We win in the first round. We beating the Hawks. It might take us 7 games, but we doing it. I'll be at every game of that series.
Boy.
New York
You
in the
spite.
ATL, okay? We win in that first round series, and then we go give the Sixers a run for their money. I reserve the right to touch on that subject after we handle our business in the first round.
Okay, let's not get carried away. Max, will the Heat upset the Bucks?
New York, stand up until the second round, then sit down. No, the Heat won't upset the Bucks this year. They have chances, but you know what the difference is? Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday is the type of dude that might have played on the Heat, right? He's that kind of player. Stephen A. would say rough rider. When it matters most, he comes up big. I don't think it's enough to win a championship, but enough to get you by the first round.
Stephen A., is there more pressure on Philly or Milwaukee?
It's definitely the Milwaukee Bucks.
Okay.
Philly could have its expectations, but it's yet to be, seen. In the case of the Milwaukee Bucks, they were in the conference finals with a 2-0 lead on Toronto 2 years ago. Last year, and lost that 4 straight. Then last year, they lost in 5. You got Giannis Antetokounmpo. You just acquired Drew Holiday. You got P.J. Tucker. You're better defensively. You still have perimeter shooting and athleticism. A lot's expected of Milwaukee and Budenholzer and the Greek Freak, and they need to deliver. There's more pressure on them than the 76ers.
All right, gentlemen, here's a look at the final Eastern Conference standings. Marinate on that. Sixers top seed, followed by the Nets and Bucks. The play-in matchups will be the Celtics, Wizards, and Pacers, Hornets. But I want to focus on the Celtics, Max, who have not lived up to expectations in this regular season. Max, if the Celtics don't make it out of the play-in tournament, do you think Brad Stevens should be out of a job?
You talking to me, Molly?
Yes.
No, I don't. Brad Stevens, I realize he'll be under pressure. Stephen A., there's enough chatter that where there's smoke, there's fire. But he shouldn't be. Of course he shouldn't be. The man lives in the Eastern Conference Finals. 3 out of the last 4 years, he's in the Eastern Conference Finals. Then one season where Kemba's hurt, where COVID and COVID protocols destroy the roster. And by the way, Stephen A., when you were like, well, Gordon Hayward's playing too much, why is he in the starting lineup off a catastrophic injury? And I told you then, Coach liked his passing in the starting lineup. Look what happens when you took that out. It's station-to-station type stuff. The ball doesn't move the same way. So one season, he's not entitled. And now Jaylen Brown is out? He's not entitled, where you're missing your point guard, COVID and COVID protocols. You don't have the guy you relied on to keep the ball moving. And then your number 2 best player is out. If he gets bounced, he should lose his job. 3 out of 4 years in the conference finals, not good enough.
Personnel, and his voice is not the voice that we need. On countless occasions, we found situations where coaches ended up. Larry Brown went to back-to-back trips to the NBA Finals and won the championship when he departed from Detroit. There's a litany of times where we can point to where coaches were at a particular place, and at some point in time, you just got tired of hearing that voice, and there was a new voice that was needed to maximize whatever potential existed. The 2 stars of your team is a 24-year-old by the name of Jaylen Brown and a 22-year-old by the name of Jason Tatum. And on the sports talk in Boston and in the papers and the tabloids and beyond, they are talking about how these guys sort of tuned him out. Now, in fairness to Brad Stevens, I interviewed Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum said on Stephen A's World, on ESPN Plus, and Jason Tatum said, no, that's not true. Okay, so I want to make sure we're fair to Brad Stevens in that. But there's absolutely nothing wrong with us looking at them and saying, wait a minute, with 2 stars like that, you're supposed to be better than the 500 squad, regardless of what's transpired with Marcus Smart or Kemba Walker, whatever. As we've watched this team periodically throughout this year, they have been on a roller coaster. We don't know what's been wrong with them a lot of times. They seem to be tuning him out. There was times where they said we might need a new voice. And when you have that going on and you're getting ready to get bounced out in all likelihood in the play-in game, I'm sorry. You deserve to be on the hot seat. He doesn't deserve to lose his job. But we need to look at him and say, wait a minute, we got to keep an eye on this because it doesn't seem right.
keeping an eye on it to me is not the hot seat. I agree that you have to always constantly evaluate and reevaluate. But one season, not in the 3 out of 4 seasons, you're in the conference finals when those guys were babies, when Hayward's coming off a catastrophic injury, right? When Kyrie didn't have the best effect on the team. And then one season when Kemba's hurt most of the year, when now Jaylen Brown is out, when, as I said, you're missing a veteran who could move the ball in the starting lineup, you're probably going to get bounced in the play-in, I would imagine. And that one thing has you on the hot seat. Saying you have to evaluate, keep your eye on it, see how these guys respond to him is fair, but not hot seat. It's too much. If Kemba was healthy all year, and then even forget about Hayward, you got to adjust. If Kemba's healthy all year, they're not going through COVID protocols and everything, and this was still, and they had Jaylen Brown now, and they got bounced in a play-in game.
Max,
you got it. Hot seat at least. That's not what happened.
You're talking about fairness, and I can appreciate where you're coming from. I'm talking about reality. And let me tell you what the definition of a hot seat is in the National Basketball Association from someone who's been covering it for a quarter century. When they are talking about you as a voice that has been tuned out, even if you're not fired, the reason why that's a hot seat is because the second next season starts, if you don't start off right, you could lose your job in the first month of the season. That's a hot seat. A hot seat is when literally you could be gone. There have been situations in the National Basketball Association where we had a guy on the hot seat and then the next season would start and they didn't even last a month or two. That's a hot seat.
Real quick, both of you, Stephen A. Max.
The question is, should he be? And the answer is no. That's reality. I understand you're talking reality, but you're asking
I did say he should be on the hot seat. I said he should not be fired.
No, it's all good. Before we wrap it up, Stephen A., you go first, then Max will give you the last word. How far do you think Boston is actually going to go?
I think Boston gets bounced out in the play-in. I don't think they even make it to the first round of the playoffs.
Max?
Agreed. They're going to get bounced. And Stephen A., I have one question for you. Where can I find Stephen A.'s World?
ESPN Plus. Every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday.
ESPN Plus. Monday,
right,
Tuesday,
guys.
Thursday,
when
Friday.
We come
Stephen
back,
A's World. And you have all kinds of guys on there, talking, letting you know, players, Tatum, Brown, these kind of guys. Got it.
Yeah, it's Stephen A's World. He brings on whoever he wants. Steph Curry finishes the regular season as the scoring champ, and LeBron liked what he saw.